Now finally, British summertime has emerged, and for many that may mean wanting to take a trip to the seaside. But sadly, not everybody leaves the beach as they found it. This not only causes an eyesore, but also a problem for wildlife on land and in the sea. Dan Simmons has been taking a look at one high-tech solution to this problem.
It's a lovely spot. But last year, Bournemouth Beach on England's south coast wasn't left looking at its best. Released from lockdown, record numbers flocked here and many left their rubbish behind. This year, with travel to many foreign holiday destinations off limits or just too much of a risk for some, the British seaside holiday is back in fashion. Our coastal resorts need the visitors. They just don't like what's often left behind.
And that's why Bournemouth has decided to embrace technology to fix what's on the floor with the help of an eye in the sky.
It's 5 a.m. on a cloudy June morning and Ellie is preparing for takeoff. She's been asked to help Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole Council fight their battle against litter across the towns and here on their 15-mile stretch of coastline.
So what are you up to?
So we are flying a drone along the beach, the coastline here. As you can see, we can very rapidly cover in just a few minutes several kilometres of this beach, and we take aerial images, so top-down bird's eye photographs, which are then processed by our software to identify the trash in those photos. So essentially what we're doing is building up a treasure map of trash. And the brilliant thing about this is that the software not only identifies where it is and how many items there are, but also the type of trash it is, the different categories. So whether that's a food container, a drinks bottle, a toothbrush, for example. And we can do this to 47 different categories of litter to over 95% accuracy. And that information is really useful to inform the local council to help improve their litter strategy.
Is Bournemouth a special beach in any way?
Absolutely. I mean, we know this 14.5 miles of coastline as one of the most beautiful parts of the UK. But from a scientific perspective, or from a litter perspective, what's really interesting about this section of coastline is that it's erosional. So that means that the waves come up and they remove the sand and anything that's left on the sand. Anything that the tourists bring and leave here, any users of the beach, any litter that's left behind, has the potential to be washed into the ocean, where it can cause thousands of years worth of damage. So it's not only the local area that people are potentially littering, but the rest of the world as well.
Ellipsis Earth has form. It's already deployed the technology in Italian tourist hotspot Sorrento, where changes led to a 45% drop in littering. They've also done projects on the River Ganges in India and the Galapagos Islands in the Pacific Ocean.
If Ellie's scheme is as successful here as it was in Italy, there'll be one group of people who'll be only too pleased to be out of a job.
The Dorset Devils are a group of more than 700 litter-picking volunteers. Since 2013, they've been patrolling this beach and further inland.
It's horrendous, absolutely terrible. And the pandemic, of course, has made it massively worse with much more litter. And I'm dreading it this year, I must say.
Lots of bottles, cans, cigarette ends. They're the bane of my life, cigarette ends, I hate it.
Anyone can join the team, and this younger devil can definitely see the positive side.
You get to help the environment and it's sort of fun.
What Ellie's project brings to the party is a more scientific approach to what's going wrong and some fresh ideas as to how to tackle it.
So this data is really useful because it's got so much detail. We can see that cigarette butts are congregating and collecting at the rear of the beach in areas that we might suggest putting new ashtrays in. With the sort of Friday night, Saturday night, the party-goer crowd have things like disco bins, which are very fun intervention. They glow up, they play a song and they shine disco lights all over the floor so people can have a bit of a bin boogie. So that's a completely different intervention to targeting the families with things like toy libraries, so that families who have bought buckets and spades for the day, they don't want to take them home, they shouldn't be leaving them on the beach. They could bring them to a kind of community deposit area where people could share those items. Then we can also look at more longer term strategy that might need a bit of planning, something like banning plastics on the beach entirely. Being able to switch all of your ice cream spoons, plastic spoons, for wooden ones would have a very, very instant reduction in impact.
3 weeks later, and Click was back in the city to film these swanky new bins that have already been installed as part of the review. Smokers are voting with their butts, beachgoers are discoing as they dump. But many of Ellie's 50 recommendations for change will take several months, and that's only if the council decides to follow Italy's lead.
That was Dan having an absolutely rubbish time on the beach. Do you see? Anyway, that's it.